This is the book that taught me a lot about that standard kind of British style of writing that I've learned I'm not a big fan of. We are back for another Christian review of regular books, and today we are discussing Maame by Jessica George. If this is your first time seeing one of these videos, here's how it's going to go down. First, I do my regular review, what you know and love to expect from a book review, and then I do my Christian review. And that's where I go over the basic pieces of a book that may or may not have a fellow believer or, frankly, anyone wanting to read it. I do give a lot more information in any of my caveats at a video that's pinned at the top of the playlist, or it should be here somewhere, so you can click there as well. If you're still here, I also want to remind you to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you can stay up to date on all of my Christian reviews of regular books, as well as me and my mom's podcast, The Journey We Share. For now, let's go ahead and get into my regular review. Maame by Jessica George was yet another book that I had found on Book Talk last year that came so highly recommended I wanted to check it out for myself. I was excited to see what all this was about. And truly, this book was fantastic. It also taught me about a certain writing style that I've since learned is just not my favorite. It's the writing style where the beginning of the book is everything stinks, everything's terrible, the character is just going through the worst of the worst, and then the whole book is them digging themselves out of it. A lot of times I think it's probably a coming of age type trope or storyline, and this book is coming of age. It's actually very reminiscent of Bridget Jones's Diary, which also follows that same type of storyline where, you know, Bridget Jones goes through like everything at the beginning, and then she's learning about herself and getting out of her junk by the end of it. The difference is the main character is born and raised in Ghana, and she moves to Great Britain to kind of set the stage and create a life for herself. And so you're experiencing her job experience, relationship experience, friendship experiences in Great Britain. However, everything else has a very similar feel to that British style of plot design where everything's bad and then it gets better slowly over time, and a coming of age story which has a similar feel. I am not a huge fan of that writing style, and it was around this time that I started to learn about it and realize what it was and why it kind of sets me off a little bit, because I really don't mind a character having a hard time, but I want to root for the character first. I want to love the character first. And when a character is immediately going through a hard time, I'm already kind of like, oh, you're having a bad day. And then I don't connect as much, even though they dig themselves out of it. Ultimately, I think this book had a lot of really great pieces, and I really liked the main character despite that, and I really liked the writing style despite that, and I rated it 3 stars. I will also remind you that I'm probably in the minority of not loving this book, and I think it has more to do with my own personal preference than it does the book itself. So take with that what you will. I want to remind you that I am on Goodreads if you want to see what I'm reading and rating in real time. I'm also on Instagram, TikTok, and I do have my own YouTube channel, so if you're wanting to follow me in any or all of those places, you can check out the description box below. Now let's go ahead and get into my Christian review. The first category I always love to touch on is smut or spice because it's popular, and this book doesn't necessarily have a ton of descriptive scenes that are spicy where you have to fast forward or pass through multiple pages. However, it does have quite a bit of discussion around mature or spicy content where it's just a part of the everyday conversation. Conversations with friends, conversations in relationships, conversations inside of the main character's mind. And so it is a constant communication, even if it's not explicitly described in the scenes themselves. It definitely was a bit much, I think, even for me, because it felt like that was one of the main focuses of the book, of her coming of age, was her coming of age within her sexuality. The second category is explicit language, and yes, there was explicit language in this book as well. Now, as a reminder, they do live and take place in Europe. I do tend to find that books that are written by European authors tend to have more explicit language than American authors, for the most part, not always, but for the most part. And so this book feels a bit like that. It's not more than the spice that's discussed throughout the book, but it is still there. I think this book is probably appropriate for ages 18 and up. I think the coming of age story is probably appropriate for ages 18 and up. And again, I think because of the discussion or the amount of discussion around sexuality within that. Please know that we don't want to end the conversation here. Leave us a comment down below. Let me know if you've read this book or if you're wanting to read this book, or you can send us an email at hello@trokia.org. I cannot wait to see you on the next one.